So this is our equipment. This is the lubricity test machine that was originally made by Timken to test their grease for their wheel bearings, but it works as an initial test that we all use as the initial test, certainly not the final test for our lubricants. But so that's the machine. That also has an amp meter built in. This is a newer version that uses these, they're approximately 1 pound weights to act as leverage that you'll see. So, and these are actual Timken bearings. They're clean, brand new, and we're going to clean them again. These are the abrasive materials that we use to clean the mandrel that we will run the bearings against. So those are the components. Those are the weights. That's the equipment. And we're going to actually measure using proper measuring equipment because we need to be a little better than the other guys. We're actually going to show you the mix ratios properly. And we'll test against a standard Mobil 1 full synthetic, our other guys that we compete with, and of course our product, and see how they perform on this lubricity machine. So the key components here, or the key issues are, we have to make sure that the mandrel and everything that we touch is not contaminated with the prior test that we do, right? So we don't want to have a different outcome than what we expect or contaminate it with something that might perform better, which some guys do on purpose to make their product look better. So between each test, the mandrel gets cleaned and deburred with the abrasives, and we use a brand new bearing each time between the tests. So, and these are, all the containers are cleaned with a thing like brake cleaner, right? So they're fully degreased. And the key again is not to contaminate anything between the tests, which a lot of our competitors don't bother doing. We're also going to use the heat gun to heat the oil that's going to be contained in these reservoirs that the bearing will run in. So we're going to bring the temperature up so it's normal operating temperature for the oil that's in the crankcase. Additives respond differently at different temperatures. So if we're going to do this right, let's bring the oil up to temperature before we run the tests. That's going to be much more accurate. So this is how we clean the mandrel. Always a new rag that's not been used before, not been contaminated. So we're going to degrease it. And then using the stone, we're going to get rid of the burrs that were put on there from the last test and any of the potential contaminants that might have been on there. So you want the mandrel to be really clean. Unlike our competitors that do this, I haven't seen them use a clean mandrel. So I don't know, man. You believe what you want to. So that's how that should be cleaned. And you can see it's nice and shiny. And now we're going to start adding some fluid. Actually, we're going to put a fresh bearing in here. It's already been cleaned. And that's what the bearing in the lever looks like. And this puts pressure on the bearing at, using this lever as we add weights. And if we wanted to, we can see the amp draw also. The amp draw will increase as you create more friction. But first, let's just do some Mobil 1 all by itself and see how it performs. Should be enough. Yep. And then I'm also going to go ahead and heat that oil up. So measuring the temperature actually inside the oil, I'm hitting the oil. We're almost at 200 degrees, and that's 300. So now we're going to go ahead and start the test. The oil's in the mandrel. Woohoo, that was hot. And then we're just going to apply the weight. I'm not going to add any additives to this yet. It's just the mobile one at this point. And it's not too noisy considering. So it stopped with just the 3 weights. It's about 3 pounds, but it's a lot. It's hundreds of pounds of pressure on that particular point. So now we're going to take a look at the bearing, and everything is really freaking hot. So you can see the wear scar there, right? And I'm just going to rotate this 90 degrees, and we'll put our BestLine in it, BestLine engine oil treatment in it, and see how that compares. And we're just going to rotate it 90 degrees so that it's an easier way to match, right? So now we're on a fresh spot on the bearing. But now we need to change our reservoir and add the proper amount of additive. So we're going to do with BestLine Racing, it's a 10% mix ratio. So we're going to pull 1 milliliter here and 10 milliliters of the Mobile One. So in order to do that, so there's 10 milliliters, and then we're going to put that in a brand new clean glass vial. And then we're going to add 1 milliliter from a clean syringe from the BestLine. So we're just going to pull up some, pull it down to 1 milliliter, which is right there. We're going to add that to this. Now that's 10%, and you can go up to 20% easily with our product for high performance, but we're just going to do the standard 10% for now. And let's mix it up. And now we're going to add it to the reservoir. All right, so now we're going to run the Mobile One with our BestLine Racing engine treatment in it. That's where Mobile One failed originally. And we'll just keep adding. We got all the weights on there. So that concludes that test. And let's take a look at the wear scar as compared to what it was before. So that's, whoops. So that's the little tiny wear scar because we added the BestLine Racing engine treatment to it. So let me take it out without burning my fingers. So that's, ow. So that's the wear scar, just the full synthetic Mobile One. And that's the wear scar with the BestLine added, right? Little tiny scars compared to something huge like that. And we carried all the weight, so we could have gone a lot longer, but to compare apples to apples, it should be about the same time with the weights on there. So that's that one test. Now we'll clean up the device and we'll try it again. Okay, so the mandrel has been cleaned all the components, and we're going to use new vials and measuring equipment, all brand new, so we're not contaminating anything. Now, this product says it's 1 ounce per quart, so that's a 1:32 mix ratio. So let's do that. We'll actually give them a benefit. We're going to go ahead and do 1:30 because that's the accurate measurements that I have on this. So we'll pull some more. Actually, we'll go ahead and pull what looks like 32 if I can. No, it won't let me. Oh, there we go. That's 1:32, or that's 32, which would equal the quart that they're talking about. So that's the Mobile One that we're going to mix. Mobile One that we're going to mix theirs with, and then we'll add 1 milliliter to that. Pull it proper amount, bleed it back. And again, I'll give them a little more, a little more than that. So that's that. Mix that in properly as the mix ratio that they recommend. And we'll mix it nicely, and then we're going to heat it up. Okay, now we're going to heat it up to close to operating temperature. Yikes, it's hot. Okay, now we're going to add it to our reservoir, make sure that it's in contact with the wear bearing. And let's see how she does. All right. So you can see the oil is on the mandrel. It's hot and it's mixed. So let's go ahead and start adding some weight and see how this ProLube works. Wait a minute. How's that? That didn't work very well at all. That's didn't improve the Mobile One at all. So I guess just for grins, let's add some more and see if that'll improve any. We'll turn this on and get it to mix. So you might be able to see the oil is quite deep in there. It's mixing. So let's see if it makes any difference. Actually, before we do that, let's evaluate the wear scar. So, and I'm going to rotate it. So that's the wear scar. It only lasted for 3 of the bearings, so it was no better than the oil without any additive. So now let's rotate it a little bit. And we more than doubled the amount of their additive just to see if maybe their mix ratio, dilution ratio is wrong for some reason. All right, so we'll do that. Nope, it didn't make any difference at all. So both my tests here, that it doesn't seem to do anything. And the wear scars are about the same, from the regular amount and much more than double the amount. But it didn't seem to improve at all. And with our BestLine, it improves it a ton, as you saw. So there we go.